Over 2,800 people have made it into the Two Comma Club by making at least $1 million in their business. And you get the opportunity to understand exactly how it is that they have done it on an individual by individual basis through this podcast. If you're interested in learning more about the tidbits and advice that they have, then you should consider subscribing to the Two Comma Club newsletter, where you'll get daily updates and advice on the podcast and the things that we are learning from the individuals who have made at least $1 million. Just go to 2ccnewsletter.com or click the link in the description down below and subscribe.
So it's kids flipping houses. We have kids in our community that are flipping houses. So we travel all around the country and document these kids under 18 flipping houses. A lot of people are struggling right now. Like everybody is online saying, "Oh, everything's good. Spend a bunch of money, going on trips," and it's just not true. Like most people are really having a tough time today. So we had these peacetime admirals and peacetime generals in the military, and then you have wartime admirals and wartime generals. And I'm in a transition over the past few months from a peacetime CEO to a wartime CEO.
Welcome back to the Two Comma Club podcast. Today, Chris and I are joined by Bill Allen. Bill Allen, can you introduce yourself to everyone that's going to be watching this episode?
Yeah, my name's Bill Allen. I live in just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. I flew helicopters and airplanes for the Navy for 20 years, retired last year, and have built a couple businesses. I got into the kind of digital marketing world through Russell and ClickFunnels and everything there, and it's just really cool. The past kind of 5-6 year journey of mine has been incredible. We've started with a real estate business. So I started flipping houses and wholesaling houses. I've done over 1,000 houses in the last probably 10 years, maybe 8 years. That kind of sparked a whole bunch of other businesses. So now we have a coaching program and info product in real estate. I built a software business recently over the last year and a half for live event tickets and stuff like that for registration systems. And we started a farm like 4 years ago in our backyard. So we sell a bunch of stuff at the farm too. So I kind of love like serial entrepreneur, love doing new things. I love learning new stuff. And I have an attention span of like 3 to 5 years. That's me.
I get that. I get that. I met you a couple of years ago at Hunter Thompson's event, and I really enjoyed getting to know you. One of the things that really stuck out about you, Bill, out of other folks I talked to in real estate, is you were just super authentic. I really appreciate that. And I think that's who you are, is what you portray to your folks and to others you talk to. And you were just real authentic on stage about your marriage and kind of your business challenges. And I really, really appreciated that. And ever since then, I've been following you a couple of years now and just see your growth. It's just been explosive. So if you don't mind sharing like, how you got started. I mean, obviously being military, but just real quick, how you got started, how you won a Two Comma Club award, that road, that path, that journey a little bit.
Yeah. So I got started in real estate like, I don't know, probably 2012 or 2009. 2009, I bought my first house that I was going to live in. And I move around a lot. I moved 18 times in 20 years. So I lived somewhere between like 9 months and 2 years is the longest I've lived anywhere. And so I just love watching the HGTV show. So I was like one day I just like, I'm going to smash up my spare bathroom and have demo day like they have on TV. And I just beat the crap out of my bathroom. And then I was like, I got to figure out how to put this back together. So I started learning like how to do tile and a vanity. And I was just go to Lowe's and Home Depot and like buy a bunch of stuff and try to figure it out and build a shower surround and, put a glass door in the shower and all that stuff. So I just kind of learned on YouTube, bought some books and called my uncle who's a contractor, a few states away, asked him some questions and put that thing back together. Then I left and rented that house out. And that was kind of off to the races for real estate. So that was kind of how I got started in real estate, was really watching the TV shows, getting excited and just trying to figure it out myself. And then I went from flipping one house a year to flipping. I did one house for like 2 years in a row, and then I did 67 houses the next year. And that was all part of kind of joining a mastermind group and a coaching program. And so that in real estate. And it was there that I met my mentor, this guy named Justin Williams. And Justin was in the inner circle. And so he owned this company called House Flipping HQ and built this mastermind called Seven Figure Flipping. And I was a student. I paid $25,000 to join his program. In fact, Russell coached him. He was like, hey, you don't want to win this Two Comma Club and make $1 million. You got to go upstairs and send an email to your list and sell them something expensive. And so he sends out an email. I get it and I buy it, And so little did I know he was, getting coaching, understanding the other side of marketing and the digital marketing side of things and building info product. And so I was in that program. The first year I went from doing one house to 67 houses. The next year I did 135. The next year I did 187. And I was doing about 200 houses a year up until COVID. Now we do like 50 or 60 a year in the business. And so I saw Justin talk about the Two Comma Club Award, all of that stuff, right? And for years, I became a coach. I became the COO of his company. He hired me to do that. And then I bought the company from him in 2019. And when that happened, I was like, okay, well, I have to go win my own Two Comma Club Award. And I want to win the X and I want to win the C. And I just want to keep growing the business. And so I went to Funnel Hacking Live. I saw everybody walking on stage and I was like, I want to do that too. And so we went and I had to learn funnel building. And so that was in 2019. 2019 is kind of when I went in on that program, understanding what ClickFunnels was, learning marketing, earning the awards. And in 2020, we won the Two Comma Club Award. I think it was 2022, we won the Two Comma Club X. And then this past year in 2023, we won the Two Comma Club C award. So for that same kind of, we do live events. We do a funnel to our main live event, which is once a year. And then I sell a $15,000 and $25,000 program from stage that we also sell year round. So it's more like an application funnel and a live event funnel that we run. So that was kind of as short as I can make a long story. But it was in 2019 that because I was always the guy behind the scenes. I was the number two guy. I was the COO. I was the operator. And now I had to come out from behind the curtain and start, running a podcast, being on podcasts, speaking from stage. I had to learn how to sell from stage. I just remember I did not want to do that at all. Like I didn't want to be the guy on the front of the house. I want to be the guy at the back of the house. And sometimes I still am called back there. So that's kind of some of our story. The funnel itself is very much like a driving to a live event ticket sale or event type funnel that we can sell to book a call if we're not in person. If we're in person, we're selling directly to the back of the room.
That's awesome. That's a wonderful story. I like how you kind of went from the bare bones beginnings to where you are today and covered everything in there. So can you tell me a little bit more about the program itself that you're actually offering, that is that 15 to 25K offer?
Yeah, it was. So the funny thing is, I don't know if you guys remember, I'm a little bit old. My 44th birthday is coming up. So I remember this commercial, this Hair Club for Men commercial when I was a kid. It was like, I'm not just the president, I'm also a client. And I feel like that's me. So like, I'm the guy who like bought the $25,000 program and I built this business, and then now I own the company. I actually bought the company from my mentor, and he kind of, took a year off and is doing his own thing now. And so I changed a lot of it at that time. So it was called Seven Figure Flipping. It was the program before. Now the whole company is called Seven Figure Flipping, and we have different levels of program. So our core offer, like our main offer, is Seven Figure Runway. And I named them Runway, Altitude, and Top Gun, like our three programs, because of my aviation background. Is I wanted to put my spin on it. I wanted to tell a new story when I bought the company. And I think we know story sells. So our Runway program is for, early investors, maybe somebody who's never done a deal before or has done one or two, and they want to kind of build something. They want to start getting consistency. They want to start not necessarily building the actual like business that they remove themselves, but they want to get more consistent and understand what it's like to run a business and get consistent in real estate deals. So we help residential real estate investors. So a lot of agents that want to be investors, people who are interested in becoming investors in real estate, whether they're flipping houses, wholesaling houses, which is just like putting a house under contract and selling the contract to somebody else for a fee. Whether they're doing short-term rentals, they want to be landlords, Airbnb, all that stuff. We really teach how to acquire properties cheap and how to make a bunch of money on them and run projects successfully. So the program has accountability groups. We have live events every quarter. We have obviously a video course, a Facebook group to hang out in, one-on-one coaching with a lot of our coaches who do a lot of one-on-one. Really a big thing is the accountability in the community. So that's like, we actually have weekly accountability calls, small group, 5 to 8 people that are getting on calls together that have like, if you show up and didn't do your actions, the rest of the group is going to give you a little flack for it. Like it's not like 100% military, like my background, and we're just getting reamed, but like you do your stuff before you show up. And we reward just showing up. So the team that has the 100% attendance ratio that 90 days wins. It's not the ones who had the highest score, because we know if you show up, you're going to do well. And so that's a big part of what we do is member success. So that's what the Runway program is. It's $15,000, or yeah, we do like, we finance it ourselves too. So we'll do like $1,500 a month for 12 months. And then our goal is in a year or two, we get those people up to the $25,000 program. And we have great retention. We're close to 80%. We're like 78% retention. And I love that. So people want to stay. And we have people who have been in there for 7, 8 years. And we got I absolutely love like pouring into the members. I really try to build the best program. I wish I was the best known, and we're working on that, but I'm definitely not the best known, but we have the best. So
That's awesome. I love that niche and helping people. That's one of the things. My background is real estate, and I just love that. And I'm sure you get the questions too, is because you are in real estate. People want to know how to get started, how to do things, and having a program for them, I think is awesome. And we lead a live person event weekly and monthly, and I just people want to be. And I got into real estate haphazardly, but also helping people. I got into it, then find programs like yours and other people. It's just I think it's invaluable versus being out there on your own. So obviously you've grown now. You have different business platforms. You're a serial entrepreneur. I love that. What's really gets you most excited now? I know you're doing stuff with the farm, teaching kids how to invest. I mean, with your
yeah.
business, like what gets you most excited these days?
Well, today it's definitely the kids. Like we just did a kids event a couple weeks ago. We have this program called Teenage Tycoon for, any like 6 to 12th graders is the target market for that. And I love that. Like the kids just left on fire. The parents left on fire. The parents came up to me. They're like, I learned more than my kids about finances, about investing, about even business ideas and strategy and what assets and liabilities and taxes. And so I love talking about that stuff. Like I could talk about money all day. We could sit here till whenever you like, I don't know, whenever Zoom kicks us off or the internet dies, I could talk about money nonstop. I love it and helping other people find more of it. And so that gets me really excited. The farm is on my 4th year. I really love the farm. And I love being over there. I think what I love to do is I love to bring people together and throw a party. Like when I think about it, when I really think about it, it's like building a community of people that has a good culture and a good like ethical moral compass in sometimes in an industry that doesn't. And so that's what I found in real estate is like you said, Chris, you said, you're authentic. And when a lot of people aren't is at least what I heard when you were talking. It's like, I just get on stage and I just like, I'm fine talking about whatever. Like I have people ask me, is there anything I can't ask you? Like, no, like we'll talk about whatever. And honest, direct, very frank. And I think that's missing in a lot of areas. So like, especially in real estate, a lot of people are like, oh, this is a slumlord or there's people ripping people off and contractors are ripping people off. It's like, how can we be the ethical people out there, giving a good name to it? Same thing with the farm. I want to provide a place in my backyard for families and kids to come by and see how a potato's grown and how a chicken lays an egg and things that I never got to see when I was a kid. And I'm just learning too. It's just like, once I learn something, I'm like, come over here and check it out and learn with me and let me share it. And it's just really cool. So I'd say the kids, definitely the farm for sure. I love doing things on there. There's things that I don't love doing, right? But I still am fired up about it. I still love seeing the people come and learn new things. So I think it's building communities like in different areas and a really strong like culture with good character and good ethics inside the community. So as I look at that, it's just like I always like right now, my wife wants a pool in our backyard. I'm like, yes, let's put a pool in because we can just invite a bunch of people over to our house. Like I love throwing the party. I hate going to the other parties because I'm the introvert. I want to be like, if I'm there cooking burgers and we're talking and it's a boring conversation, be like, hey, I gotta go. I gotta get something. I gotta run over here. And it's just gives me the opportunity to have like to bring people together and be the connector. And so I love doing that. That's I think that's what fires me up. And that's what I love about the kids. It's connecting a lot of people right now. It's creating buzz online. It's creating a lot of people. And I hope it inspires like other people to do it. And frankly, going to Unlock the Secrets event for me was like my kid being there and all these other kids inspired me to be like, maybe we could do something like this in my community. So that's all that stuff gets me fired up.
That's
Love it.
amazing. I love that that sense of community and everything. I feel like that's something that a lot of people sorely miss after like high school and college and all of those areas where you really have community for so long and then you're thrown out into the world, everybody going in different directions, and you're really just trying to find that place where you can bond with people on that level again. So what are some of those things that you do to get people to discover the community that you're building and be able to find them and integrate them into the community?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the first place is I try to figure out like where are these people already hanging out? Like if I know, step one is you got to know who your people are. know what you're for, know what you're against, know who you are, like know, and just like Chris said, like actually like be authentically you. So, you're going to attract, I look at myself in our 7-figure flipping company. I look at myself as the head recruiter. Like I'm the head recruiter for the company. So if I go out and I give a presentation and I speak at somebody's event, or somebody invites me to a RIA or my event, like I have to be authentically me and put out what I'm looking for, and just be me. And I'm the head recruiter. We're going to attract other people that look like me, walk like me, talk like me, all that stuff. So, and if you look around at all the other communities, you see that in many, many communities. Like whatever community you look at, you'll see a bunch of people that believe in similar things. They might dress a similar way or look a similar way. Like you don't see a lot of people at our events in a suit. Like they're just not wearing a suit and a tie. Like people would be like, you would stand out like a sore thumb at our event. It's like shorts, hoodies, flip-flops. Like it's not a requirement, but it's just kind of what happens. Like it's just everybody comes there and like, if you showed up in the suit for the first day, you'd be like, I got to check what else I packed. It's just not. And then I see other masterminds and groups that are that, and that's cool. Like it's just if I had to go to a mastermind where I have to wear a suit all the time, like I'm just not going to go. I think I own one that fits right now. So other than my flight suit, I'll wear a flight suit. That's it. It's like pajamas. So that's the first step, I think, is figuring out who you are, so you can figure out what you're for and what you're against. And that's a big challenge of mine still, I'll say, because being in the military, I feel like we follow orders, we're told, we have to wear the same thing. And you don't really have a sense of individual of who you are in the military. So for 20 years, I basically was pushing down a lot of who I was, I feel like. From time to time, I think I could be myself in lots of areas, but you can't, there's certain things that you just follow the rules, man. And so, and if you try to buck the system, sometimes you get like knocked back. So now I'm one of the big struggles. I'm trying to figure out, what do I believe, and who am I, and what don't I agree with? Where do I stand? Because I'm kind of like on the edge of the coin. Like I look at the heads, I look at tails, and I kind of like decide. I'm kind of like, I'll listen to both angles. I'll study both sides. I'll try to figure it out. I'm kind of in the middle, which being in the middle is not very polarizing to kind of build a community and a bunch of people following you. So so for me, I do that first to figure out who I am, who my people are, and then where do my people hang out. And so how can I get to those places where my people are so that they'll hear my voice and they'll start to be interested in what we're doing in the community. And so it's cool hearing Chris. Was that event in California? Was it Hunter's event in California?
It was Hunter's event, yeah.
Yeah. So it was an interesting event for me. I remember, so I'll tell a quick story. So Hunter Thompson has this event. It's called IREC or something. It's, I love real estate or something like that. It was some real estate conference where people were talking about like multifamily real estate, the market, all this stuff. And he asked me to come sit on a panel and talk about money, like raising money. And I'm like, okay, like I'll come. And I asked him, I was like, hey, what do people wear there? And he's like, well, most people wear suits and like they dress like business casual. I'm like, all right, like I don't really have a suit. Like I think I might have some, I don't know. And I went there the first day and I felt like that it was like not necessarily my scene, like a bunch of great people. Like I love the people, but I didn't want to dress that way. So I remember that day getting dressed. It was like the second day or third day that I was speaking. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear what I want to wear. I'm not going to wear what they want me to wear and what I'm supposed to wear. I'm just going to be me. So I'm just going to wear like my clothes. And I remember sitting up there on the panel and it's like suit, like me, suit. I think I had like, I don't think I wore a hoodie, but I definitely did not dress up. And so, I even think I mentioned it from stage. I was like, this is me. And that's how I raise money, is I'm me. I don't try to be somebody else to get somebody's money. I tell them who I am, what I do. And if they want to invest in me, that's great. I provide an opportunity for people. And so because of that, it sounds like Chris was like, oh, this guy's real. Like he was like, I like this guy. And somebody else is probably like, that dude's dressed like a bum. Like, I'm not interested. I don't like that guy. Like he's got jeans and I don't even know if I was wearing flip-flops or what, but if I could, I would have. I mean, it was kind of hot. It was California. And so I just was myself. So I say all that because it's obvious that there's going to be people that are going to really like, and if you go to the places that your people are, they're going to hear you, they're going to see you, and they're going to want more. And so that's where I go. And my farmers, and then I create it. So then I create the place for them to come. And I look for people in my community that somebody else has kind of already congregated them. They're in the right place. Like when I go to certain events, my people are there, you know? And so my farmers market, I created my own group that I can control for my farm that want fresh food. And we talk about how horrible the grocery store is, the beef at the grocery store, like the chicken, how they're raised, all that stuff, and why you want to buy from a farmer. And this is why it's 3 or 4 times more expensive. You know, and you can pay now or you can pay later when you get sick. So you choose. Like you can just pay for your healthcare down the road if you want and die early, or you can eat good food today. So, and then so the people there are the people that are like, yes, I believe this. I think about this. I agree with you. So I realize if you want a tactical answer, like they're in Facebook groups. If you're local area, if you're national, they're on social media, they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, and they want to hear something that you're throwing rocks at somebody else of what you don't believe in and what you do believe in. And so if you can figure out what your niche is there and who you are and what your voice is, then those people will hear it and come over and follow you.
I like that you said throwing rocks because it does polarize. Like you said, you can't be on the coin, and you are going to have your people. And like I said, I'm a carpenter, construction guy background. So right away, I resonated with you. You just at that event, you just were natural. You weren't wearing a suit and tie. You resonated, and I appreciated that. And so, look at discovering folks. How they discover you. How are you nurturing folks? Obviously, sometimes people are on the fence, or you got people that are following you, but they haven't jumped in. Sometimes it's several no's before you get a yes. How are you kind of nurturing your folks? What avenues or avenues are you using to connect with your customers or clients?
Yeah, great question. So let's say we get them here. The thing is, in order for somebody to buy something from you, you have to build a massive amount of trust. And so we did a study inside my company in 2022. I think it was 2022. Yeah. About all the people that bought from us. So we looked at everybody that bought a high ticket offer from us, right? So $15,000 or more. And what we found is that on average, and we threw out the outliers, like the people who knew me from before, my friend, like my commanding officer my old commanding officer for my squadron bought a program from us, things like that, and it's like, he doesn't count. Like I've already built a massive amount of trust for him. If I just like called him on the phone and he wanted real estate, he would call me and buy. I had another guy who joined who was my best friend's sister's best friend's husband. So try to follow that. But he's like, I want to get into real estate. She's like, you need to follow this guy. He attended one event and bought the program. So that's just trust was already built or transferred to those people from someone else. So if you throw those out, what we found was we had, on average, people had to attend 2.5 events. And so the next step is let's define event. An event is not buying my book. An event is they're either online on like a half-day workshop or in person or online for like 1 day, 2 day events, a challenge, 5-day challenge, 3-day challenge at our 3-day live event in person, at one of my RIA meetups here at my office that we did once a month in 2023, things like that. So like in 2022, we looked at it and we said, okay, on average, everybody buys 2.5 events. So like, okay, that makes sense. That's interesting. So if you ever seen the movie or read the book Moneyball, we found the Moneyball in our business. We found the one thing that changes everything. And so then we said, okay, well, if that's the case, how long does it take for them to attend 2.5 events of ours? And it was like 9 or 10 months. Like our events were so spread out that, it would take 10 months for somebody to attend 3 events to buy. And so we said, well, what if in 2023, we do more events? We do more challenges. We do more half-day workshops. We do more in-person. And so that led me to buy an office building, a 16,000 square foot office building, and throw like 50 events that year in 2023. And we just did like workshops here. It was live and virtual. We did one a month for single family. We did one a month for our multifamily apartment business. We just did more to build trust. So we had to get in front of those people and have them spend time with us. Like the way we build trust is time. And because then they're like, okay, this guy's authentic when I met him, and now he's giving me an insane amount of value for free or for a very low cost. What would it be like if I paid him $15,000? And so that's how we did it, and that's how we continue to do it, is we just have to spend more time with them. Like next week, so we're recording this on the 27th. Next week, 4th of July, the 1st through the 5th of July, we are doing a 5-day challenge. While everybody else is taking the week off, and they're giving their staff the week off. My staff has the week off, but we are doing a challenge. Me and my CEO, we are doing a challenge for 5 days to get in front of people. And if 50 people show up or 100 people show up, I don't care. I don't care if 10 people show up. But we're doing that because there's people that have W-2 full-time jobs that can't join us during the day on a normal week, but they probably can this week. And so they're going to come in, we're going to build trust, we're going to invite them to jump on a call about our membership. And so I just need to spend time. Like that's how you do it, is spend more time with them and then figure out, like, give them value, give them what they need, show them who you are over a longer period of time. So we did that test in 2023. I bought a $3.2 million office building to run this theory. And then what we found was we in 2023, all the people that bought from us attended 2.6 events. So it was true. Like our theory was right. The hypothesis was proven. And we reduced the time from like 9 months down to like 4 months. And so we increased like the speed at which we could sell somebody into a membership from not knowing us or being on the outside to buying from us faster.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That's cool. That's cool.
That really puts a lot of thoughts spinning in my mind right now. I've done challenges before myself, and I worked with, I don't know if you know Jeff Armstrong, he's in the inner circle.
Yeah.
I ran one with him one time. I even got to talk with Pedro. And one of the things that I'm really curious on in your experience when it comes to the different challenges, when Pedro and I were talking at Funnel Hacking Live, he was illustrating at the time that it seemed that the better outcome for challenges was actually from paid challenges versus free challenges, given the notion that people who pay attention and they actually show up. And when we ran free challenges, I found that, more people signed up, but we had like a sliver of the amount of people actually show up and participate versus when we did paid challenges, it was almost everybody who paid showed up. So what has been kind of your experience in trying the different variations there? Do you find that it works better to do paid challenges or free challenges?
Yeah,
Events?
great question. And I've seen this across the board from other friends of mine that run challenges. Is the paid challenge is definitely one that you're going to see a much better ratio return. We've never run a paid challenge. So this next one on July 1st through the 5th is going to be our last free one. And after that, it's going to be something like $7 or $15 to come in, just because you're right. But typically what we see is we see about 50%, 50% of the people that sign up show up. And that's just day one. And then from day 1 to day 5, we usually have a 30 to 45% drop off over time. But the people that stick are your people, right? So a lot of people be like, wait, you have like half your people don't keep coming back? It's like, I actually don't care if that's the case. Like I'd love to increase it, but I'm not going to increase it just to get them back. If they're not my people, I want them to leave on the first day. I want them to leave in the first hour. I want to make it so that the people that I know that are going to stick to it are going to stay for the time that I have them for, because those are the serious people. And I want serious people in my community. I don't want dabblers, because the dabblers will pay for a month or two and then drop out. And we'll spend a lot of time. Most of our money and most of our time is spent on the front end of onboarding people, bringing them in, having calls with them, coaching calls, all that stuff. The majority of what we spend money on our folks is in the first 90 days. And so if you can't make it 90 days, if you make it 90 days in my community, I know you're going to make it. That's usually how it goes. Like that 90-day onboarding, like a success path, those kind of things are important. So for us, we've never run a paid challenge. I plan to, but I see it at events. I mean, I see it at my live events. I just did the event for kids last week. We had a 97% show rate. Only one family didn't come. And it's because they couldn't, like the kid got sick and they couldn't come. So I mean, and they only paid $97. Right now on July 15th, I'm doing a social media workshop at my office, and everybody wants virtual. I'm like, you have to be there in person. Like we're going to do some real work. And I know 1,000 people are going to say, I want to go. 100 of those people will actually like hit the link and check it out. And maybe 25 to 50 people will actually like sign up, and it's $97. Like I'm just putting a number on there. I'll buy them lunch. I'll buy some drinks and stuff like that. I'll spend all the money, but I would do it for free. But people would sign up, and I'd get like 100 people sign up, and 10 people will show up. So why don't I just have the 10 people come, and then I know up front, you pay me $97, I'll do it. And so, I mean, it just shocks me. It's like they just don't want it bad enough, which is fine. Like they don't want to learn. I mean, we had 20 million views in the last 6 months on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And it's just been blowing up. And I've learned something and I'm like so excited to share it, but I'm only going to share it with the serious people. Because like even from that, let's say 50 people show up, only 5 people are going to do what I say anyway. So, that's the way it goes. Like, where do you want to be? I just ask the people that are listening, like, where do you want to be? And I would say just say that to your people. Like on the first day of the challenge, last challenge I did, we had like 250 people on. I was like, by the end of this challenge, we'll have less than 100 people. Less than 100 of you will make it. I feel like I was on like the beginning of SEAL training. I'm like, you're all going to ring the bell. You're all going to quit. But it's true. And sure enough, we had like 98, 100, 110 people on Friday. And I'm like, hey, you guys made it. And even now, we're going to whittle it down. Some of you are just going to take this information and put it on the shelf. And the rest of you are actually going to put it to work. And then it's going to be hard for 3 months. And then, a couple of you will be left standing after that. And that's how life goes too. So just decide who you want to be. And it was the 2 people that bought our program from that last challenge that are doing well now. That's it. And some of the people that are already in the program that jump on the challenge because they want to learn more. And so that's just how it goes. But as far as your question, John, I think paid challenges, it's just harder to fill. You usually have to pay some money to get people in there, but they're definitely more profitable. And I agree. I think the people that pay attention overall. So that's why we're going in that direction. I'd rather run a smaller event that has less upfront work for us, and I can go deeper with less number of people that are more serious. I'd rather do that.
Awesome. No, just kind of piggyback on John's questions. I feel like you give a ton of value. I've checked out a lot of your videos. I've learned a ton from you, not only being in your groups, but kind of walking through your customer experience. I mean, obviously you give a ton of value. I feel like a ton of value that's practical, not just fluff value. For you, like kind of walk through that customer journey, that customer experience, how you try to nurture them. Because obviously you're saying, you got to get to 2.53 events before you close somebody. So people have to see value. So how are you guys kind of building that or peppering that into what you guys are doing on a day-to-day basis?
And do you mean for the people like up front that are not in the program, or the people that are in?
Yeah, people that obviously get to eventually work with you one-on-one and grow and are successful. Like,
Oh, so the people that are like in our paid
yeah,
program.
yeah,
Yeah, so there's a couple things that we do that I think will be good tips for anybody who's running a community. And the one that I think is the reason why we have such a good like retention rate and success rate inside the community is understanding what your people need. So there's like sell them what they want and give them what they need. So if I was like, oh, I'm gonna sell you all this mindset training up front, like nobody's interested in that. They want to fix their problem. So we sell the solution to the problem up front. And once you get in the community, because it's not like, oh, you're going to love this community. You're going to show up to the event. There's going to be a bunch of people around that know exactly how you feel. And they'll be your support group and your support network while you have trouble, like, struggling in real estate over time. Because you might think it's not that hard now, but it's going to get a little bit hard. So you're going to need all this community to be around you. You're going to need some mindset coaching and training. Like people don't want to buy that. They want to buy like, this is how you're going to make money. Like we're going to teach you some tactics. We're going to teach you some strategy. We know what problem you have right now. You can't find any deals. We'll show you how to find deals. And we do that inside the community, but they need more than just that. Like so that's like the hero's journey, right? You got the outer journey, which is very much surface level stuff. It's I got this problem, I want to solve it. And then you got the inner journey of what happens inside for you to be able to accomplish the goal that you want to accomplish. And so inside of there, we have to take them on that kind of inner journey. So that's one thing that I think about a lot of how do we serve our people inside the community. Is kind of be there for them. They don't get them to the event, like make sure they're coming to the in-person events to meet the people, to get into the network, to understand who else is there. Because once they get there, they're like, wow, these people are amazing. Like they are just like me. It's totally different than my family not supporting me and the people around me not supporting me and all my friends that, play video games all day and I want to make money and things like that. So we do that. And then the biggest thing inside of our program that I would say is helpful behind the scenes, and my members don't even know this. So if people are listening to it, like secrets out of the bag. But what we do is we have something for each of them called an engagement score. And so I'm a data-driven engineer. Like a mechanical engineering undergrad, aeronautical engineering master's degree. I was a test pilot for the Navy. It was all numbers and math. And so I know that numbers don't lie and people and emotions do a lot. So what we did was we looked at an engagement score and we try to put a number on everybody. And what I mean by that is we have different areas of our program. So we have our Facebook group, we have the video course, we have our accountability groups, we have our live events, and we have our coaching calls. And so inside of that, if you are attending, you go on the coaching call, you get some one-on-one coaching calls, you get points. If you're and Facebook now, it's really cool inside Facebook groups. They like rank every month the top participants. You've seen that probably. It's like you can see a leaderboard of who's most engaged. So that will get you different points depending on where you are on the leaderboard. So how engaged are you inside the Facebook group? Are you attending the accountability group? So did you sign up for an accountability group? Because it's optional. And then if you did sign up, are you attending different point scores? Are you coming to attending the live in-person events or potentially the hybrid event? Because we do virtual streaming for them and like not even streaming, like interactive virtual event for them. Are you coming to that or are you missing it altogether? And then the course. Are you watching the video courses or are you just not watching them? So just different point system, right? And so then we score those people. And it's not just the score. So just because you're at a 20% doesn't mean that you're going to drop out. Like you might have just joined for something specific. You might have just joined. You might not even have Facebook and you just want to come to the events. And we have plenty of people like that. But if you started at 20 and then you go to a 5 or a 0, I know there's a problem. So what I want to do is consistently over the first couple months, I want to see where you're at and then we'll check. But if you start dropping below like a certain metric, it's going to trigger a call from our membership team. So they'll proactively reach out to you because we know something's wrong. And a lot of people are like, wow, like we retain a lot of people. We help solve their problem. We'll connect them with the right coach for them. We'll figure out what's going on. We'll make sure that we plug them in, maybe introduce them to the right person, maybe solve their problem right there on the phone. And see like, oh, I didn't want to ask for help. I'm kind of embarrassed. You know, it looks like I'm losing money on this house, you know, like, hey, it happens. Like, let's figure it out. Or I bet we could put you in contact with the right person to hopefully mitigate that and reduce that or possibly break even. Like, you know, and so we do a lot of that and proactively reach out because we call it likely to cancel. So like they're likely to their next, we in another week, they might be sending us an email or calling us like, hey, you know, I can't make my next payment or I want to kind of like fade quietly, or they're going to stop answering their emails or phone calls from us altogether because they're embarrassed. So that's usually what happens is when somebody has a hard time, they don't lean into the community, they lean out. Where really when you need to lean into the community is when things are hard. Most people join a mastermind group or coaching program when things are great, just to celebrate and beat on their chest. Like that's the last time that you need a group, really. Like you're doing fine. Like just keep going. And it's always nice to talk about ourselves and tell people how great we're doing. But really when you need the group and the program is when things are not going so good. So we try to anticipate that and encourage them to lean in, share other stories of other people who have been through the same thing. Connect them together. How did you get out of it? What's life like now? Those kind of things. And that engagement score is a huge, huge, huge thing inside of our program to make sure that we have that retention rate. We have great customer service. People they're like, wow, I didn't even know you guys knew who I was, you know? And so everybody's got a number inside of there.
That's fantastic.
Love that.
I love how much you talk about the sense of community and everything. And it really goes to show how great of a leader you are when you are so focused on not necessarily, it sounds like through that conversation, you're not so focused on the growth of it as much as you are the growth of the people in it. And that really goes to show like how much you invest into your people. And that's really amazing. And I don't really hear many business owners talk about it in that light, you know,
Yeah.
where your focus is all about the retention and making sure that people are actually getting the support they need. So that then begs the question to me, was there some kind of experience that you had personally or in your professional career that led you to put such a big emphasis on that?
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. The military just kind of speaks for itself. I was in the Navy. I was a pilot. I had to be a leader. So many people like raised me up and poured into me and really cared about my success. I've had some amazing mentors from my soccer coach. When I look back, there's like 3 or 4 really impactful people in my life. The first one was my dad. The second one is a soccer coach that I had in high school and kind of when I was a little bit younger in middle school and high school. We were number 3 in the nation as a high school soccer team. We were very competitive. Pretty much everybody I played with went into the MLS, played in college. Just some amazing players, but this coach was like, he bred leaders, like really incredible. And then in the military, commanding officer that I had, was absolutely incredible for me, Greg Sheehan, and so many too, Bob Weisenfels. Like I can name a bunch of leaders, commanding officers, people, peers that just poured into me over my life. And so I've had some really great, predominantly male role models for me, that have really kind of poured into the fabric of who I am. And then just be able to, I mean, I was freaked out to hire my first employee. I did not want to hire anyone. I'll do it all by myself. Like, and it's because I had to write the check. I was just afraid to be responsible for feeding their family and them. It was uncomfortable, but I could run like multi-million-dollar projects and, lead hundreds of sailors in the Navy, So, yeah, it was just, and now raising these people up, like I love to pour into other people because I mean, I think I've figured out a lot of stuff. I'm doing pretty well. I'm not ready to retire anytime soon, nor can I don't think, but I'm having fun and I love it when other people like legitimately gives me more joy when other people do better than I ever did or make more money than I ever did. Like it legitimately, when they outgrow my umbrella, I'm like, man, this is awesome. And because the other thing is they're really still close to me. Like I think you can tell when I look around and I try to model other people. I look at their leadership skills. If you got somebody that you're grooming and growing, right? And they outgrow you and they quit or they want to leave or they want to start their own thing, and you are somebody who's like, good luck, you won't make it without me. That's not a leader. That's not, and then they're distant from you. They're not around you anymore. They're not in your ecosystem. So let's look at Russell. Russell's a very big like mentor of mine and somebody I look up to. And you look at Steve Larson, who was like raised in Russell's ecosystem, right? And it's like, I want to go do my own thing, has built up his own thing that you could look and be like, that looks like it could potentially compete with Russell's business, like doing events, being there in Boise, like he's a marketer. They're kind of both talking about marketing, but like he's in his inner circle. He's in his Atlas program with me. They just did an event together where Russell was there doing the event together, writing a book together. Like they're still connected. Like that is a good leader that raises somebody up from trying to figure out how to pay for his hotel room at Funnel Hacking Live to hiring him, to raising him up, to then still supporting him when he leaves. Like that is an example of a good leader. So there's just all these people I just watch. I eat the meat and I throw away the bones with everyone. Somebody who I don't agree with at all, 0%. I learn a ton from them of what not to do. And then everybody else, like I'm always watching and just adjusting my style based on what I can learn and gain from somebody else. So I think the military probably number one. My dad obviously set up an incredible foundation for me. I'm incredibly proud to be a son. And yeah, I think like figuring out who I surround myself with and who I spend my time with and other people that I want to be like and become, I can get a lot from them. So that's probably my answer.
I like that. Something I want to go back to, you really struck a chord with me, is talk about people in your group and struggling, and it's the time to lean into a group. I just find that all the time. I'm helping somebody, they get some properties, some issues, and they just go away. They're not talking about their problems. I can't really help them because I don't know what's going on. So for you, kind of leaning, what's been some of the mistakes you made or kind of some of the pitfalls? 'Cause obviously with growth, there's always mistakes, but what's one thing that sticks out to you and somebody says, hey, what's one hurdle? What's one thing you kind of had to overcome to kind of get where you're at now? What sticks
Yeah.
out to you in your mind, Bill?
I got millions of those, like millions of those. I got more of those than what I'm doing right. I'd say currently, like I think the best thing that I can give the listeners right now is what's happening in my business and my life currently, like right now, because a lot of people aren't talking about it. Like a lot of people are struggling right now. Like everybody is online saying, "Oh, everything's good, spend a bunch of money, going on trips," and it's just not true. Like most people are really having a tough time today. And they're just not talking about it. So right now, I'd say the biggest challenge that I've had is like all this stuff I'm talking about. So everything that we're doing, engagement score, checking on people, everything, like everything we've done, and saying, is it really happening? Like, is it happening inside my business? It's great for Bill to come on the podcast and say, this is what we do, because that's what I want to happen, right? That's what I expect to happen. And then what we do a lot of times as leaders and visionaries and CEOs of companies, whatever, is we start removing ourselves from the business and we stop checking to make sure that stuff's happening. And so I gave up the finances in my company a a while ago, like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I did this in other companies in the past, and it kind of came back to bite me. And I just kind of like expected things to be like the information that I was getting is accurate instead of like diving in and checking. So I hate the trust but verify comment. Like this saying is a president that we had that said trust but verify. It's not my favorite thing because it feels a little bit like micromanagement, but it's really more like inspect what you expect for me. So I feel like I've been doing less and less of that and just hoping like everything would be fine and not really checking in and diving in. And so there's times as a leader where you have to get your hands dirty again. And so I'm in this phase of peacetime CEO. So we had these peacetime admirals and peacetime generals in the military, and then you have wartime admirals and wartime generals, and they're very different. They're the same people, but they have very different leadership styles and styles of what they have to do. And I'm in a transition over the past few months from a peacetime CEO to a wartime CEO, where some of the decisions are coming up. I'm rolling them from, sorry, you used to make these decisions before, but now I have to make them because we're just not going in the direction that we need to go, and we need. And if it goes bad or goes wrong, I want it to be on me, and I can kind of see the path. I can see around the corner. You might not be able to see what I can see or have the whole picture. So making sure that I'm flying an airplane with the right instruments instead of kind of flying blind or with the wrong settings. So with all that, what I mean by it is when things are not going so well in the company or starting to turn and pivot and you need to make an adjustment, there's times where you're going to have to jump back in a little bit and pull some things back and don't keep your head in the sand for a long period of time. So I think I kind of ignored a couple problems a little bit too long. So the biggest mistake I have is when you know something's going on, you got to act swiftly. You got to jump in and you might have to get your hands dirty again, which is kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of what I think of when I hear the difference between the peacetime leader and the wartime leader is a lot of, I guess the word that comes to mind is comfort. It's like the peacetime leader can easily roll into, hey, the times are good. Let's take the extra day. Let's do this. Let's do that, and not get our hands dirty. But then the wartime is always constantly in it, doing that stuff. And so, Chris and I were actually talking about this before we hopped on here. Is like, it seems like a lot of people today, their adversity is coming from their comfort rather than actual problems. And so, I don't know if there is ever a time that you can recall where you had an experience where your comfort was actually your downfall or where you witnessed that happen to somebody and then a lesson that could be learned from that you could share with the audience?
Yeah, there's actually two. One is exactly what we're just talking about. Like I just got comfortable with we were making a bunch of money, everything was good. I was watching the cash flow, and then we had like a little hiccup, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Like it'll work itself out. And it just started like stacking a little bit by a little bit. It was like death by a thousand cuts, and me not paying attention to the finances. So for the business owners out there, nobody cares about your money like you. Like nobody cares about your money like you. Your CPA doesn't, your bookkeeper doesn't, your financial controller doesn't, your CFO doesn't, your COO doesn't, your CEO doesn't. Nobody cares about your money like you. Take care of your family. Don't let everybody hit the ATM without you making money. Like it's just not how it works. Everybody's hitting the Bill Allen ATM and they're getting paid first, and then I got what's left over. And if there's nothing left or negative, then that's what you got left over. So don't let that happen. And you get comfortable over time, like, oh, it'll work itself out. It's worked in the past. These are great people. It's all going to happen. So that's one that I would say finances specifically. Like, even if you don't understand finances, you need to understand finances. You need to figure it out. You need to understand, if you ask somebody how to read a P&L, watch a YouTube video, take a class, take a QuickBooks course. Like, you've got to understand how to read it. Fortunately, I love numbers and data and Excel spreadsheets, but I just got complacent. I got comfortable. I stopped looking. I got numbers and I wasn't checking them. I wasn't diving in deeper. And a more like tactical thing that happened to me is in my flipping business, my real estate flipping business. I was flipping houses. I was doing well. I was making money, and then I started doing these projects that were a little bit different. So I started buying these like more expensive houses in Pensacola, and I did this project that was supposed to sell for like 850K. The median home price at the time was like 150, 175, 175,000. And this one was going to be like $850,000 house. It was on HGTV, a show called like beach, I don't know, beachfront something like that. And then it was also just like on the parade of homes, like beautiful house, right? I ended up losing $70,000 on this house. So I thought I was going to make like 120. I lost 70. So huge problem for me, right? And so because of that, at the time, I was comfortable. I was like, oh, we're doing well. Everything I've touched has turned to gold so far. I've been making 30,000, 50,000 on these houses. I could flip anything. And then sure enough, I used the same contractor that flipped a $150,000 house. I didn't realize that the price drops were going to be like, you drop a price $5,000 on a $150,000 house, people look. You drop a price $5,000 house on an $850,000 house, it doesn't change anything. And so just all the things that, there's a bunch of stuff that happened in there, but totally was comfortable, lost 70 grand. Then I did 3 of those houses at the same time, lost 70K, lost 50K, lost 30K on 3 of them.
Mm.
And so I was like, I'm out. Like I gotta figure out this game. So the moral of the story is not don't do expensive houses, because I have plenty of clients and members that do really expensive houses and make millions. It's you have to change your strategy when you're going to change the field. And so I got comfortable in what I was doing and thought I could directly correlate that to something else, and it's just not true.
Like that. I think you talked about a lot of things today, Bill. This is one of my big things. I'm always trying to say, hey, what am I good at? What am I not good at? You talk about changing fields. I talk a lot about unique abilities. People talk about superpower. I've heard you talk about numbers, talk about being an introvert, but being in the front of the room, being the head recruiter. What's kind of your superpower? What are you focused on right now to grow? Or what have you found or kind of discovered in your business that was your superpower if you didn't know it already?
I think the biggest one that I have is being able to like bolt on to something else and make it better. Like building the Frankenstein model is what I've done in every business so far. It's like what's out there right now, who's doing what, and how can I take a little bit from each person and make something better. And so that I'd probably be the best consultant on the planet. Like I can go into other businesses and look at their P&Ls and look at what's going on and ask them a bunch of questions and give them some ideas of how they can make more money or streamline some things. I love doing that. Like I'm total engineer and tinkerer. I'm not an architect that can draw something from scratch. So I think I think it's numbers, data, like letting data make decisions and take the emotion out of it. I'm very calculated. And so I think that's it. And so right now, like that's a big thing of what we do in our event software business. It's called In the Room. And we go into other people's events, use our software to make them way more money using data and numbers and analytics. And then in my real estate, the coaching business, what I have to do right now, I think I'm also very good at, like you said, being authentic, being real, like, going into a place and attracting the right people with what I'm talking about. And so those are the 2 areas. We have a TV show coming out here that we're going to start filming in the next couple months. I think it's going to be really big is figuring out how to get access to more media and more eyeballs and more attention, which is really hard when you're kind of like on the edge of the coin, right? So that's the next step for me. But I think, being a bolt-on, I'm a really good number 2 person. I think that's where my superpower is like I can bolt on, I can jump in, I can the challenge is I get bored over time. So I think the very easy transition to a consultant or somebody who can look at something else. And sometimes you can't see that your baby's ugly. And so right now, like I'm consulting in my own business going, what happened here? Like what has been going on since I've been like making videos and doing all this other stuff and speaking on other podcasts and other stages and other events? Like, I got to get back in and I got to look at it. That's why I hired a CEO so he can come in and run things while I look at the business as a consultant from the outside. I come in and I say, okay, this is the direction. This is what I see. You go execute what you think. And I think he's going to do a great job.
I love that idea of the getting more eyes in media and everything with that TV show, and I'm excited to check it out. Do you have a name for it already by chance?
Yeah, I guess I can say. So we're in contract negotiation right now. It should
Oh,
be
you don't
done
have to say. I understand.
today or tomorrow. I think it's okay. It's going to be called Kids Who Flip. So it's kids flipping houses. We have kids in our community that are flipping houses. So we travel all around the country and document these kids under 18 flipping houses.
That's awesome.
That's epic.
That's
So
awesome.
if you wouldn't mind kind of just sharing where it is that people can go ahead and find you and contact you as you know we roll this out, and if they have any
Yeah.
interest in joining your programs or anything of that nature.
For sure. If you're interested in like a real estate, flipping houses, that kind of stuff, I have a podcast called Seven Figure Flipping. And then our website is the number 7figureflipping.com. We have a YouTube channel, Instagram, all that stuff. And then I do something a little bit different personally. I do Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, that kind of stuff, Facebook with aviation. So I fly my own airplane. I interview people in the cockpit of the airplane. It's really fun. We make fun videos about that. Talk about money, business, and just random stuff. Like I flew Ed Reed. He was the Ravens safety, won the Super Bowl in the Hall of Fame. It was so much fun. Just flew a guy from Dave Ramsey's office, George Camel, kind of talked about credit cards and debt and stuff like that. So I have a different look on all of that, and just like getting other like high level launch. I flew with Russell Brunson. We did an interview, a bunch of other marketers. Pedro, you mentioned, he's been in the plane. So just have fun doing that. That's at Bill Allen REI on Instagram and YouTube. So we spend time doing that, and you can find me pretty much anywhere online.
Love it. I love following your Bill Allen flying around. I love it. You got me thinking now. I hate airports. I hate like to travel, but I hate airports. I'm like, well, I get my pilot license. Bill has his pilot license. I can just fly. I can do this. So you
That's
really
right.
got my head spinning. So I appreciate that.
Well, right when we get done here, I'm putting up a map and I'm throwing a dart at the wall. And the closest airport is where we're flying to. And we're going to make a YouTube video about throwing a dart at the map and flying somewhere,
I love
getting
it.
lunch, checking it out. So we're going to create a little series around that. So it should be fun for people
I
that
love
are
it.
like, you want to see stuff like that. It's kind of some of the fun stuff I get to do. So I get to fly, I get to hang up with you guys and fly the rest of the afternoon and just, yeah, hang out in the plane and have some fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I really appreciate your time today, Bill. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. Look forward to that TV show coming out, and thanks again.
Yep, me too. See ya.